That my man is ready, and I'm seeing him right now on my screen. Kres, good to see you this Monday, and you're beaming with this smile. Let's get down to the real business, because Jadon Sancho missed the penalty along with some other England players, resulting in Italy winning the European Championship.
Yeah, it's a tough way to lose a final, reminiscent of the '96 Euros final with England. Coincidentally, it was Gareth Southgate that missed the penalty back in '96. This time, Jadon Sancho, Saka, and Marcus Rashford, the three last penalty takers. Of course, they missed, but that's not the big story. The big story is the racist abuse they received online minutes after, specifically Bukayo Saka. He was targeted. He's only 19 years old. He had never taken a penalty before in his life, and to be put in the position to take arguably the most important penalty taken in recent English football history is quite a lot of pressure to put on a 19-year-old's shoulders, and given the fact he was taken out the game, and then you look at Jadon Sancho as well. Jadon Sancho really wasn't a favorite of Gareth Southgate, and not really known, not really a key figure. He did have that one start, but the reality is the ugly face of racism hasn't gone anywhere, and that just goes to show that it does still exist. I wonder what would happen if they had converted the penalties. Does that mean that, every time you see a black person in England or whatever, you go up and embrace them and give them a hug and kiss? I'm not really sure, but what we did see is just, it should be condemned on every front. The FA, the Football Association in England, of course, condemned the actions. They were appalled about it, saying that the disgusting behavior is not welcome. Following the team, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, chimed in, calling the English players heroes. And they should deserve to be treated as such. And I do agree with that. But the reality is the police are looking into the matter, as well, to follow up, on those that dished out that abuse, and also people are asking the social media platforms to do more. I recently did a documentary talking about the existence of racism in football, of how you're the GOAT, you're blamed, or how you're the hero, and it tends to be amplified if you are a player of color. People believe it doesn't exist. Well, this is a definite symbol that it does exist, and it's just sad to see, such young men deal with that kind of pressure. Look at Jadon Sancho. He hasn't even suited up for Manchester United yet, and he has to deal with that on the way in before he gets active. This requires the players to have quite the mental fortitude. They are young men. We can never forget that. And it's sad that they didn't really it didn't end the way they wanted it to, but just to be put in that position, you have to question Gareth Southgate's judgment. They do have some more seasoned players on England's roster, but you live another day. I wish the players well, and hopefully, the authorities are very vigilant in attacking and following up on those that dished out this disgusting behavior, and we move on, but it does exist, and it was sad to see, but that's life. And as I said, we have to keep our heads up and keep moving forward.
Right, that was a regrettable storyline there, the racist abuse. But looking back at the Euros generally, which Bundesliga players had top performances for you?
Yeah, a bit of bright news. And one player you have to look at is Patrick Schick, Leverkusen striker by way of RB Leipzig. 5 goals, and he did it every which way. I talked about players potentially playing themselves, onto the radar of bigger clubs, and he's definitely done that. You can look and see what the Czech Republic accomplished, in this tournament, and then typically you don't see players score goals so often, and he only scored 1 from the penalty mark. So 5 goals, you want to salute him on the back. He's the first Czech player in a while, I think since 2004 or 3, to net a brace in the European Championship, and he did score a goal. He's up for the goal of the tournament. He scored a goal that was nearly 50 yards out, 50 yards out, 50 meters out around this, distance. A goal hasn't been scored that far since 1980, so this player is definitely the highlight player. You can also look at Dortmund's Jude Bellingham, becoming the youngest player at the time when he did feature in that tournament. He is still a teenager, so those 2 players really caught my attention, but specifically Schick for what he did in front of goal.
Right, he scored for me my goal of the tournament. But let's just talk a little about individual players. Having said that, we've talked about Jadon Sancho's move to Manchester United. Well, Dortmund's Erling Haaland has been linked with the move to the EPL. Kres, how likely is this to happen this summer?
Well, you know, you want to believe money has potential to move mountains because Thomas Tuchel, Chelsea's manager, they're coming off the Champions League victory. He is reported that he went to his higher-ups and said, hey, I want to break the piggy bank to purchase Erling Haaland. We want to get him before the bidding is very high. You know, what can we offer? And the reports say around 150 million. You know, that is above and beyond what his release clause would be next summer. That's what Dortmund planned. Dortmund planned to keep hold of him until next summer. That's when the release clause significantly drops to around 60, million or so. But the reality is he's hot right now. When you look at the numbers, I mean, goodness gracious, the young man scores a goal nearly every appearance he's had for Borussia Dortmund. So it's no shock. You know, we know what he did in the Champions League as well. You know, it does make sense. Dortmund, you know, it's been reported they've had some financial issues making some purchases. You know, even though they want to hold on, to a young player a little bit longer, who knows what'll happen if the number gets so big, Dortmund has to bite at the opportunity. But their sporting director, of course, says that's not a part of the plan. We're not letting him go until next summer. But, we get a lot of this back and forth, and when money's in the equation, like the money that's being discussed, maybe we see something. But right now, my gut tells me he'll stay at Dortmund a little bit longer. He recently posted on his social media, Erling Haaland did, that he's happy to be back and get back to work with his buddies. So right now he's thinking Dortmund. My gut tells me he'll stick around for another season.
Right, as I prepare to let you go because we had a bit of a late kickoff, what else hit your radar, Kres?
Well, really short. We have some friendlies coming up. The Bundesliga kicks off early August. Well, next week we have some friendlies around the league, and it'll be an opportunity to see, what players are new, how new players are being integrated. I'll be here to give you all of the highlights and updates next week when we meet up. But I'm looking forward to seeing that. And your Bundesliga fans out there should as well, because it's an opportunity to see the young faces that typically don't get to shine. So that's what, preseason's all about. I'm looking forward to that, and so should you.
Sure. Thanks a lot for our Bundesliga football expert. Kres Harrington, let me just say, danke schön and auf Wiedersehen.
Danke und auf Wiedersehen.
All right. Kale wanange watu mjamali waffe bwatambudde